Yo, what's going on, everybody? Rob, aka Robbie Diesel, and I wanted to record a quick vlog because I was sitting here at the crib. I am on doggy duty, hanging out with the homie Duke here. The missus and the boy are at my sister-in-law's 40th birthday dinner. Happy birthday, Sarah. And I was just having a moment of reflection, man. Just thinking about how far in the game I have come. And I was also thinking about a very recent conversation I was having with a friend of mine, Mike Nazarian. Shout out to Mike. And I was telling him about how I was having these feelings a little bit ago that I just wanted to kind of dip out. And by dip out, I mean I was having feelings about killing the brand, getting rid of the curated culture. I was in this funk because I was coming off of a weekend that should have been a really, really awesome weekend. And those that know me personally know that as much as I can, I try to take my work very seriously. And 2 weekends ago was Motor City Comic Con. I love going to that Comic Con. It was one of my absolute favorites. It's local. The guest list is always dope. The energy, the atmosphere is always dope. I get to catch up with friends in the industry. It's just a dope time. And the show runs 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And as fate would have it, on Friday, I got super, super sick. And ironically enough, that's not the first time that this has happened at Motor City Comic Con specifically.
Well, we made it back from Comic Con safe and sound. I have brought back a severe case of con crud. I'm in bed right now.
A few years back, I got super duper sick and couldn't finish the con. And then same story here. And I got down in the dumps, man. I was just kind of reviewing everything. I was looking at, readership on the site. I was looking at listenership on the podcast, and those two things are actually doing pretty good, surprisingly. And then I made the mistake of looking at my YouTube subs, and I was like, the biggest pity party in the world, because I was having the realization that almost 10 years ago to the day that I was laying on my back in the icy grip of death from whatever respiratory illness that was descended upon my body. Almost 10 years ago to that day, I attended my very first Motor City Comic Con, which also just so happened to be the second Comic Con I ever attended as a member of the press, having a website. Those that have been rocking with me for a minute know that I used to run a website called Nerd News, and that was my baby. It was the catalyst and really the grandfather of the curated culture. And I've done several side projects in between, and they all kind of accumulated into what is the curated culture. And while I was feeling really, really down in the dumps and I was ready to call it quits, I had the realization that, you've been blessed to do this for 10 years. 10 years ago, if you would have told me I will have gone to 5 San Diego Comic Cons, I would have laughed in your face. If you have told me that I would have gone to a Comic Con in Chicago dressed as Mr. T for the entire weekend and stayed in character, I would have laughed in your face. I would have not have believed you. And if you would have told me that I would have been able to go to New York Comic Con, which New York has always been one of my favorite cities, even though before I went to New York Comic Con, I had never been. I always fantasized about going, and I finally got there. And I remember the feeling of leaving my hotel room, Maria and I, and it was a fairly warm, an unseasonably warm October night. We were walking around and we realized that we weren't too far from Times Square. I wanted to go to Times Square. I wanted to check it out. I wanted to see it. And so we tossed in the GPS and we walked, and we finally got it. We hit that block, and it was so ironic, the timing. Maybe I'm just, mushy gushy because I'm in a sentimental mood right now. But I remember the GPS voice going, "You've arrived." And I remember looking around. I was looking at the bright lights, all the billboards, and
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I never in a million years thought I would ever see this place. Like, I've only seen it on TV, but it's real. It's an actual real life place.
if you know me, I'm like a fucking stone wall, right? Like, I'm very stoic at most times. I just kind of soak it all in. But in that moment, man, I legitimately, I could have cried. I welled up with pride. Like, yeah, I have arrived. I made it. And so all of those memories came rushing back to me. The very first time I interviewed a comic creator, Mr. Gary Reed, God bless the dead, being able to interview a pro wrestler from Lucha Underground and Willie Mack at San Diego. Like, there's so many different moments that I realized that regardless of what my subscriber count is on YouTube, I have been able to make moments throughout my entire time of doing this that most people will never get to experience. And that's not like some braggadocious type shit or anything like that. That is just me realizing the gift that I've been given. And yeah, maybe I do want more subscribers on YouTube. But that comes the second leg of my realization is that to build the subscribers, I got to put in the work. I can't just rest on the laurels of going to the Comic-Con, and those memories are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like I have something to prove now. And as such, I have made a personal commitment to myself that while I'm in this sentimental mood and while I'm sitting here alone in my house and talking to my camera, I'm going to make a couple of personal commitments to myself. I'm going to switch up my routine and I'm going to do things. I'm going to be more intentional about doing things to build my brand, to do things that I want to do. And I'm going to be more intentional with making sure that I make even more memories. And so that starts with this. I have, over the years, started and stopped doing these vlogs an unlimited amount of time. And I've made so many I'm back videos that the last I'm back video that I made, I kind of, made it a joke. The video is titled The Return Part 75. Just because there's been a lot of start-stop, and that ends today. So I am making this as much for me as I am making it for content on the channel. But the luxury of inconsistency is no longer valid. So I'm not going to ramble on. I'm not going to make this a big, long, drawn-out thing. I'm already... I don't know how long this will be by the time you guys see it, but I'm already past 12 minutes and counting. But I just wanted to get on here and record myself saying, this time it is for real. This time I am going to commit to you guys, and more importantly to myself, that it is time to do the work. it is time to remind 2016 Rob, who was awestruck and teary-eyed, standing in the middle of Times Square, of why we do what we do. So, thanks for rocking with me over all these years. You've watched me go from jet black, super sweet beard to salt and pepper and beyond. And I hope that you guys continue to rock with me. So for now, I'm going to bid you adieu. I'm going to go have myself a little snacky snack, and then I'm going to get to work. So until then, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.